snake. Looks like it tried something up with it. I'll just try to do it. Oh, your bed's pies, you see. Our trunks must make that meeting straight. Look at it's your heart. Oh! It's that or pick one? Okay. Do it again. Back up. The Magnum blade. Anyone I kill joins the serpent king. You're one of these times. You know what I can do? I can fire like a bunch more of these snakes. And then each one of you I kill, I add a snake until I can't see shit anymore. Genius! Whoa! Lion's claw. Oh! I passed the bigger check. Oh! Shit! Oh. Roll catch. Oh my lord! Wi-Fi shot. Yeah. So uncomfortable. All my cosplay ideas were always so uncomfortable. Ooh! My brother is right. Oh! You're alive? What happened there? Oh, you dropped me something. What is this? Ow! Oh, no! That's how that feels! Kill check. Ooh. I passed the bigger check. Double kill. Oh, yeah. Watch this, it's gonna be fun. God, atheists when God places down his gold from inside. Oh my God! God fails the bigger check! Stop it! Stop it to the body! Come here, goblin. The As just one. Yeah. Hello. Lord. I feel very jumped off. That's definitely not true. That's why I think I was an idiot. You tricks us. Goblins can be formidable opponents and Yeah, that's right. I watched volleyball for years. It's really about recognizing certain animations. It's about recognizing certain animations with easy parries. What? Bitch! Wait, ball. Restart. Try again. Yes! Big damage! Now is a good time to tell you that I'm on Journey 4 for a new game plus 3, whatever you call it. So enemies are harder than usual. Beat the game 3 times to get all the achievements. My soul's journey is satisfying. Next is Dark Souls 3. Holy, the absolute unit. Oh, can I farm him to get that large farm? Here's how you fight Melania. You gotta space her out, and after she whips, that's when you count it. Create space, she whips, count it. Most importantly, remain calm. Oh, I beat her once, I could beat her again. Yeah, that's right, I put on one house step. Come on, Melania, try for a third. Melania is weak to heavy weapons. Yeah, staggers her. Watch this. She is weak to bloodhound step. I am weak to Melania. First, you can also bring a freezing pot and wait for it. Just like that. Good dragon. Good dragon. Are you done? Is your move done? Can I play? Can I play the game? Can I play the game? Not this time, Magnomer. I learned my lessons. You gotta make sure that your back's not against the wall so that you don't get done by the running attack. This running attack. See? I'll be counter attack. Are you done? Can I play? Can I play the game? Classic. You good? What are you fighting? I think I bombed her on the head too many times. Do it! Why isn't she doing it? For help, slow it up. Do it! Do the thing! Don't do it! Fine, let me play the thing. I just wanted to fight to see if I can still do it. I can beat any boss! Except for that way. Whatever Souls games are like, I have a PS5 right now. This house is being used to worship Moloch
Hall, which is one of the most evil entrances of the Elder Scrolls. It'd be great to help him go back to the scene with normal house. But it doesn't take too long for everything to go crazy. Lots of hands go flying everywhere, lights go off and on, everything becomes misty, and a voice in your head tells you to kill Tyrannus. Even if you choose not to kill him, eventually you'll have to. All the doors get locked, and he's driven mad and back. Anyway, after killing him, leave, but the voice tells you to go to your house to collect the reward. It is always a bad idea to listen to voices, and they are never telling you something normal. It's not something that happens. You don't get that. But if you follow through your basic force help will like all lure and unexpected reasons time, and forces you to beat the poor guy to death. I mean, you get pretty sweet names out of it, but yeah, stuff gets out of control. It's great. But that's it. Try it again. And number 9 is Mars Icon. It's an unassuming compound southwest from Winterhold. It doesn't seem like there's any reason that this would be a named location either. But strangely, there is a lamp hanging on the tree on the little island center of the park. There's also a boat with some crates near the island. If you look closely, you can find a hatchet in a rotten stone. Inside is a cave with 2 vampire members who attack on site. By dealing with them, you can find out what is going on here. You butcher bodies in the fire along with the body of the smoker, who looks pretty recently killed. There's skeletons inside the refrigerator crate. And it seems pretty clear that the vampires are paying and smuggling and disposing their victims. I mean, if you spend the time trying to figure out what's going on anyways, you get literally no test for analysis, right? Like a mess. But hey, it's still creepy. Not something you'd expect to find in what is an otherwise quiet area. And number 8 is Iverstead, with the beggar and his sister. Now, Iverstead seems like a really normal town on the southeast of Skyrim. It's really not district. The bottom of the mountain. They've got a river, they've got some logs. There's genuinely nothing that's going to shock you. There is, however, a beggar in the town who is pretty insane and is constantly changing about his long sister. If you ask around, people in town will tell you the story. The sister was shot for some reason. I don't know, maybe she talked too much, she was annoying, or I don't know. But she ended up drowning in the river while gathering out in the street. Her body is actually still out there, too, at the bottom of the river and the bridge. She's even got the apothecary satchel, and if you check her body, you can find the necklace. It's nothing sacred, though, so let's take the necklace off the yesterday. For shame. This is the PlayStation 3 and an entirely unnecessary item. We fill up your RAM and restrict the performance. That's the reason I'm telling you this is bad. At number 7 is Winterhold Prison. If you look around the far northern city of Winterhold, you might not even realize they have a prison. You'll notice that winter does definitely have a hold on the area, and therefore it was pinned quite appropriately. But the prison's not immediately as obvious. If you look far north of Holland, you'll find this completely unmarked area. The Jew. It's so remote, practically off the map. Inside, you'll find pretty massive punishment when it breaks along Winterhold. Cages left in an ice cave, guarded by frost oxen. They call them Icemen with sad names that are hard to pronounce. 2 of the cages are just sitting around filled with bones, which suggests they just put criminals up there and leave them to die. Oh, if you broke the law, well, I guess you get to go up here and die in the cold. I mean, this is kind of a mysterious location, but we don't really get any information on it. It's difficult to find, and it's very obviously cruel. And number 6 is Anissa's Cabin. Now, this isn't actually that far from the start of the game. It's just a small, nondescript, tiny little cabin near Alfred Hole. Just an old, rundown shack with an old lady sitting out there. An old lady who seems super normal if you just talk to her. I mean, you're not uncovering anything about her by just talking to her. She's kind of like chill. Hey, what's up? Yeah, I got a small house. Kinda sucks, but whatever. That's my place in line. But then if you explore more, you'll find a hatch underground cellar, where you'll find enchantment equipment, a note about joining a coven, and the skulls all over the place. When you exit the cellar, she attacks you. It's just one of those encounters that kind of freaks you out because you don't really expect it at all. Like, you wouldn't think Anise was going to attack. She's an NPC. Most of the time when you do stuff like this, they And at number 5, the Windhelm Murder House. In the city of Windhelm, which is in the northeast of Skyrim, there is a murderer called Butcher terrorizing the citizens. There's a quest called Blood on the Ice if you want to assist in the investigation of these killings, and after doing so, investigating the crime scene, you can follow the trail of blood to a seemingly abandoned house. Now, the place is weirdly empty, but there are some unusual things you can end up finding there, like pamphlets saying beware the butcher, and probably most surprisingly, the secret room behind the cupboard. It's basic math. You can read it if you actually. It's just a pretty creepy side quest, you know. It's totally possible simply wandering this place fun as nasty through the pirates on your own. And in that context, without the actual mission, ooh, so much weirder. I would be way freaked out if I just wandered into that. At number 4, it is the Midden. It can be found under the College of Winterhall, the School of Magic, in the remote northeast of Scotland. You'll find a quest inside Winterhall. It's not marked, but it's called Forgotten Name. Weirdly, there's a dangerous relic encircled in the room, deep in the midden. Beside it, you'll find a bloody skeleton, and on the table nearby is a note. In that note, you find out that the faculty were trying to find 4 missing students from the college, and they concluded they were all killed while trying to summon something that was much more powerful than them. Oh, the intrigue. Basically, yeah, they were trying to summon a demon in the school basement. You know, that old chestnut. I got $1 for every time I tried to do that while I was off at magic school, right? There's a key nearby that can open a chest in the school that contains the 4 rings for the students. You put all 4 rings in a good relic, you'll summon a Daedra named Elaine, who admits to killing the students. When he appears, you can see the 4 skulls of the 4 students who are killed in the ritual. You can agree to let the demon go, or you can kill it. It's just a creepy little mystery that takes a little effort to uncover. I mean, you can basically spend all your time going through this area without even realizing any of this happened here, reminding you that digging into the history of any place will uncover something unpleasant. And finally, at number 1, Greenfield. You want to find this place, you look up an existing ruin northeast of Dawnstar. It seems basically like a standard dungeon, and so you start finding journals in a way. You'll see around here and left journals. I mean, it's really hard to find journals. He was a necromancer, though, and he had, let's call it, a disturbing interest with the women of Dawnstar. He wrote fairly excitedly about finding the female corpses to bring back in order to do his bidding, and he's like, the corpses that he's considering, who all happen to be women. I mean, I think you're probably catching what I'm throwing here, and I'm throwing it to get rid of it because I don't want to deal with it. Anyways, he kills a Dawnstar girl who recognizes him, and then he brings her back as a ghost, which led him to begin murdering women from Dawnstar and bringing them back as ghosts. Thankfully, you kill this little freak at the end of the dungeon, but only after having to deal with all the mindless spirits of the women he murdered, who were obviously mindless for being murdered and brought back as ghosts, not because they're women. That's a joke. I didn't really think I had to specify that. Anyway, so he has to find all of the corpses. There's necromancy, necrophilia, and a lot of murder, so hey, nice place, right? Wrong. It's incredibly creepy, it's kind of shocking, and it's actually pretty gross. So, did these locations inspire you to freak you out sufficiently? One way or another, we had a lot of fun compiling this. Which was the freakiest in your opinion? Leave us a comment, let us know what you think. If you like this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, click subscribe, and don't forget to enable all notifications. As always, thanks very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. Follow me on Twitter, Falcon the Hero. We'll see you next time, right here on Game News.
We have excitement down to science. We call it phrenology, the study that moves in and go out with friends. We'll help track your spending. Be smart with your money and get the constant scoop with CIBC Insights. CIBC Smart Everyday Banking.
Today we're going to talk about games that reward exploration in cool ways. Games that don't just give you the, hey, cool, it's sword feeling, but more meaningful games that give you important, worthwhile stuff for exploring, like just more satisfying gameplay around every corner, better tricks, secrets, strange quests, or just cool vibes that can make it worth the trek. We've got a mix of traditional games, experimental games, and these are just our own subjective picks. Some games we love. So let's get started off with number 10 and talk about Outer Wilds. Still an incredibly underrated game to this day. We included it in our Game of the Year picks the year it was originally released, and it's still going strong. And part of the reason is the game's incredibly unique structure. So the way it kind of goes down is that you are an astronaut in a world filled with different aliens and planets, and you're exploring a solar system that has climbed to below, a next to a supernova exploding in 22 minutes, and then everything resets, so you're stuck in this 22-minute time loop. And in those 22 minutes, it's up to you to essentially unravel the mystery of what's going on, and you do that simply by exploring. The game encourages exploration in a unique way because it's pretty much the whole way to move along. You gotta really get around and figure things out. The solar system explodes, everything restarts, and you take that knowledge that you gained poking around and use it to progress further. Whether it's just learning more about this secret ancient alien race or puzzles to actually get ahead, and it is incredibly satisfying to see it at the end. Mobius Digital, the developers behind this game, really crafted a really cool world filled with alien races, cool planets, and just stuff to figure out and learn, and it's really worth the exploration. Now, next over at number 9, we're going even more left field and talking about the Stanley Parable. Now, the Stanley Parable was originally released in 2013 on the PC, but it's recently been given a new lease on life thanks to a full re-release on console with new content called the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. So we figured it was a good time to talk about it. This game, you might look at it and just want to call it a walking simulator because all you do is walk around in first person and click on stuff, but it's still much more than that. This game tells a quirky, weird, narrated story filled with humor and weird wonder, and the entire structure of the game is just built around you kind of poking around and following along and not really always doing what you're supposed to.
Just but consider to get back to business, Stanley took the first as we go on next. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
The narrator guides you throughout the game, but you're free to take a left instead of a right, or go up instead of down, and everything will change. And that, in and of itself, is like the definition of exploration, and it's unlike any other game. The more times you replay, the more times you decide to go here instead of there, you learn more stuff, you encounter a completely different story scenario, with tons of new bits and jokes. It's absolutely different around every turn, so the Stanley Parable, especially with the awesome new content, it really encourages you to explore every inch of what they designed, what they put in this game. It's great, it's fun to explore the ins and outs, but it's hilarious. It is totally worth playing. Next over at number 8, we talked about a lot of conventional open world games here on the channel, but we never give enough love to Mad Max. Now, the Mad Max game that came out the same day as Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, it just doesn't get talked about enough, probably because it came out the same day as Phantom Pain. Anyway, Mad Max has a really interesting open world. While other similar games are jam-packed with things to see and find and do to keep you busy, Mad Max is the total opposite. And what makes the world so cool is the fact that it's so empty. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to feel that way. It's just a sprawling, empty wasteland with not a lot to find, but there is some stuff hidden out there, and then that makes that extra special. Exploring and looking for enemy camps can be really rewarding. You can find scraps to upgrade your car and Max himself, but you can also find new shells for your car as well as project parts for strongholds. But one of the things that makes it really rewarding is actually finding the spots that have all this stuff. You might be standing on top of a big cliff and see some sort of old world ruins, or maybe the wreckage of a ship, and then you might know that there might be loot there. When you get close, it will pop up on your map and let you know that it is lootable, but seeing it off in the distance from so far with the game's incredible art style and draw distance as a potential spot is really cool. And the upgrades and stuff you get are really satisfying because they make a difference to your character or your vehicle. They're all noticeable, and there's really no filler or fluff here. It's all just useful stuff. And it makes roaming those empty, lonely, post-apocalyptic landscapes that much better. The vibe here is so cool, and the treasure you find just makes it even sweeter. Next up at number 7, we had to mention Elden Ring. Now, I know probably a lot of you are very sick of hearing about Elden Ring at this point if you watch any gaming YouTube videos, but we had to give it a nod on this list because of how well the exploration flows, how natural it all is, and just how much stuff is tucked away in all corners of this game. The exploration in this game is so worthwhile, not just because it's like an RPG and you're making your character stronger or anything like that, but just because of how much stuff you will be surprised to find and how well crafted and how interesting it all really is. This game has stuff that is incredibly well hidden, and so many optional secret areas, secret bosses, secret items are completely hidden, maybe behind a bush that you never look behind. But all of that stuff, all of that level of hidden stuff just adds to such a satisfying sense of exploration, but really just like adventure. Just good old-fashioned wandering around and finding cool stuff. And also, of course, finding new things to get your ass kicked by. Next over number 6, we have Hollow Knight. It's an incredible game. It's a Metroidvania, so in a lot of ways, yes, of course this game encourages exploration, but we think Hollow Knight does it just exceptionally well. Also, we're still just thinking about the sequel, Silksong, all the time. We've gotten for that game. And as of the time of making this video, we still don't have our hands on it. But the original Hollow Knight just hides so much cool stuff, enemies, bosses around every corner that just makes it so satisfying. Also, thanks to a really good level of challenge in this game, it makes that exploration pretty tense and sometimes pretty nerve-wracking in a game that, on the surface, just looks like a quirky good time. There's actually a lot more to it. It's honestly kind of hard to put our finger on why we thought of it for this list, but it just feels right.
How fast is that right where you actually drive? You can beat men with a gun. Thankfully, you got something to fill your time instantly, putting these guys back into the cover. Gun right here. Protected for 48 hours.
At Lockheed, our Chipotle mango chicken begins with our signature Chipotle brunch. When cold on Canadian seasoned chicken, brown to perfection. We spread it on beef and friends, topped with fresh avocado. Because here, delicious is in the detail. Only at Lockheed.
Next over number 5, we have The Witcher 3. Yes, this is probably another one that feels like an obligation at this point, but stop and think about exactly why. The Witcher 3 is another open world RPG adventure, but it's an incredibly unique one just because of how well crafted it is. How every single inch of the game world, the map, every side quest, every NPC really has a bit of care put into it. That makes exploring every inch of the map and going deep into some woods or some forests truly worth it. You'll always end up finding something cool like a haunted spooky shack or a mysterious cave or a lost stranger. Not to mention you can just find some really awesome loot that'll give you a really good leg up later on in the game. But along with that, it's just a good vibe. The way the wind howls, the way the trees sway, the way the sun rises and sets incredibly beautifully, the way you can always hear some creepy, gross monster in the distance. This is one of those games where, yes, it does have a big map filled with a bunch of things to do. The way it's all presented, the way it's all set up, and then the way it all is made, it really makes you want to turn off the minimap completely and just get lost. And it deserves a lot of credit for that. Now, next over at number 4, speaking of getting lost, The Elder Scrolls, specifically Morrowind. Now, we wanted to highlight Morrowind because this game does not hold your hand at all. This game sets you loose. Now, every Elder Scrolls game essentially starts you off in a bad position and then opens the door and pushes you out. Morrowind gives you probably the least amount of guidance in the modern Elder Scrolls games, and it makes it such a stronger experience for them. You can completely mistakenly just walk right past where you're supposed to go for the main starting quest line and get completely lost and stumble into all manner of weird things. But you can also cheese your way through pretty far and get some cool equipment. Really, there's so much to this game and none of it really is guided that it makes exploration feel so much more worthwhile. Even if you stick to the main quests, the game doesn't always spell out for you where exactly to go next or how exactly to get where you got it. Redemption 2. What on the surface might seem like a basic boy answer, honestly, we're just trying to highlight the pinnacle of what Rockstar Games has been doing with building open worlds. People talk about all the time how great it is to explore all of San Andreas in San Andreas or Grand Theft Auto 5 and all the hidden stuff that you can discover, but Red Dead Redemption 2 is a world like no other. On the one hand, it has what I mentioned before, the vibe, the absolute beauty, the sound design, the detail, the depth, to truly just turn the HUD off and get lost in this game. You don't even have to do anything video gaming. Just go for a ride on your horse or go for a walk in the woods. Either way, if you do it in an abstract way or if you're just playing the game the old-fashioned way, the exploration is worthwhile in this game just because of how lived in it feels. People go about their businesses, stores open and close. There are always people out roaming the wilderness, doing their own thing. They really constructed a believable, deep, lived-in world that feels
it die. It's been 7 years, and no, I'm not gonna let it die. In fact, I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure that this guy stays relevant and hopefully, maybe, probably not, but hopefully still, has the career that we thought he'd be able to have back when he was drafted in 2015. Let's go over the guy who was supposed to be in the same territory of player as the Eichels and the Marners and the Connor McDavids, maybe not McDavid, but maybe just a step below. Third overall pick in the 2015 NHL entry draft, Dylan Strome. Now, Strome is a very interesting name because as we've talked about over the past few years, this was a guy that a lot of people thought should have been in that same territory of elite caliber first-line player, like the guys who were drafted around him have been. You take a look at the first overall pick in 2015, Connor McDavid. No questions asked, he's a generational player. Second overall is Jack Eichel, who's elite in his own right, but who still has more to prove. Third overall, you have Connor McDavid's teammate in the Erie Otter system, Dylan Strome, whom we're going to be talking about today. And then after Strome, you have Mitch Marner, who is a 90-point caliber player. He'll get 100 points one day, it's just a matter of when, not if. This was the top four in 2015, and Dylan Strome is the only guy that really has not established himself as anywhere near the elite caliber of status the other guys around him have had. Dylan Strome was an absolute monster in the Erie Otter system in the OHL. He was an absolute beast, a power forward, playmaking center, a big dude who could score and absolutely waltz around the competition. But as his career went on, he never dominated the NHL in the ways that McDavid, Eichel, and Marner ended up doing. Instead, you had a weird path with Dylan Strome, where he bounced around from Arizona to Tucson to Arizona. Eventually, he got traded over to Chicago when Arizona wasn't giving him an opportunity to develop and succeed, and his
not love. Hi folks, good stuff. It's Dan on Game Ranks. 10 things long-time Skyrim players hate. Starting off at number 10 is playing Skyrim unmodded. Stressed by Bethesda for such a long period of time, meaning that for a certain group of Skyrim fans, the game is considered unplayable without mods. I mean, it's not really true. The game is fine to play without modding, but for a lot of fans, that is the only way to play. It's no secret that Skyrim has maybe the largest, most active, and probably best modding community out there. Like, if there's one older game that is still around today that's well known for its modding scene, it's Skyrim. They run the gamut from basic bug fixes to total conversions, and there's so much good stuff there that it's kind of mind-boggling. It's not just like Macho Man as a dragon or Thomas the Tank as a dragon. There's a lot of really but here's the thing, most people don't play Skyrim with any mods at all. The PC population is big, but it's only a small slice of the Skyrim pie. The console players only get a small sample of Bethesda huge mods for the console. And I have to imagine most players just ignore it. They're totally fine playing the game vanilla. But for hardcore and long-term people, it's the mods that keep them coming back, and not like the stellar, untouched, pristine, original gameplay. Obviously, the game's good on its own, but it's also old and buggy. And number 9 is the Xena. There are a lot of characters you can pick on in Skyrim. There's Lydia, Delphine.
He's probably putting to the second line power play unit for sure then. Or as our right-handed shot. I'll just sign up a bunch of players for the AHL probably, unless I have everybody I need. So Lindbergh would be my first line center. Junot would be my second. And then Appleton would be my third line center, probably. Ooh, I need two good centers. And maybe bottom forwards, okay.